Hello and welcome to a CIS Peer Mentor video where I'm going to be going over Vim briefly. Or I'm going to be, this video is mostly helpful. No, this video will be more useful if you follow it along. So, in order to do that, you'll need a Linux VM or you'll need a Linux system of your own. One of the few I suggest, or one of the few that are pretty well known, is Ubuntu. You can download it here at this site, or you can copy the URL, or Google it, of course. And there's one also another Linux distribution that should be pre-installed with Vim, or Vim should be pre-installed on all of these, by the way, is Linux Mint, a personal favorite, and OpenSUSE. More specifically, I'm using Leap, but you can use, I'm using Tumbleweed, not Leap, but you can use Leap as well. And this is the VM that I'm currently using right now. So now to get started, press Enter Vim, just like this, Enter. And then next we're going to try to figure out how to quit. So try to press Q. It doesn't seem to do anything very useful. Though if we look here, it says how to quit actually. But let's try some other useful ways to do it. It's like escape, that doesn't work. Control C. Now at the bottom here actually tells us to type in :QA and press enter to exit Vim. So it's useful in some. It tries to tell you how to quit because it is a really popular joke about beginners not knowing how to exit Vim. So it's really easy if you know the command. So since we're in normal mode, that's what I'm going to go over in a second. :Q exclamation point. This is, or you can do it without the exclamation point. The exclamation point actually means something once we get to writing files. And press enter. Alright, great. Now we actually left. So now let's do vim text.txt. And do exactly as I type. Press enter. And now it says here we're creating a new file. So if you type in Vim in a file that already exists, it'll edit whatever is it'll edit the contents inside that file. So next what we want to do is we want to write stuff to the file. So press I, and you should see at the bottom left it should say insert. And then type hello space world. Press escape to quit out of what we now call insert mode. So insert mode is the mode that allows you to enter text into your file. That's kind of the only way to really enter text in your file in Vim, since Vim is what is considered a modal text editor, meaning you don't just type the text in and then use Control A, Control B, or whatever to go into certain key combinations. Instead, the key combinations are built into normal mode, and then another mode which is also connected to normal mode in some way. So now, what if we want to quit now? :Q. Enter. No write since last change. What does this mean? Add exclamation point to override. So essentially what this is telling us is that we've made changes to the file. And it's warning us that if you quit like that, you're going to disregard all the changes you just made. So to ignore that, it says to press exclamation point to override. So let's just do that. :Q exclamation point. Enter. We quit. And the file has not been written because we just disregarded all those changes. So now let's go back, press the up arrow, and then press enter. Press I again. Hello world. Escape. And now we want to write the changes this time. How do we do that? So do :WQ. So essentially your W means to write, and your Q means to quit. So you're basically just adding an extra letter to it. The W means to write, and then we write the changes first, then we quit. So press enter. Now it does the same thing, it just doesn't show us what's going on. So if we do ls, and if you know the Linux commands, this basically just means to list everything in your current directory. Enter. Our text document right here is, well, our text document's here right now. Or our text document is right there, yeah. So then do cat text.txt to, nope, not that. Exactly what I wrote. Don't write this because that was a mistake. And it should say the contents we just put out. All right, perfect. And another useful resource, which I'm going to be using to go over some of the commands, and type this exactly, Vim tutor. Press enter. And this brings you to a text file that essentially allows you to practice using the text editor, which is really handy if you don't know what you're doing. And over here in the first lesson, it goes over how to move the cursor. You can use your arrow keys, of course. But one of the things about Vim is built. It was kind of designed for you to keep your hands on the home row keys. So this is why you use H to go to the left, L to move to the right, J to move down, and K to move up. And this is only in normal mode, meaning you don't see this insert right here, right there, at the bottom of the screen. And as we've shown before, I'm not going to repeat myself too much, but I brings you to insert mode. So I, and then you can write stuff there. You press escape to quit. There are several ways of going into insert mode. I is not the only way to do it. Doing capital A, you can follow along as well. Capital A allows you to write text after the line, or at the end of the line, and then capital I lets you write text before the line, or at the beginning of the line, if that makes sense. And then next, let's go all the way to the end of the line, right here. And notice how we cannot go any further. So if we press I, we're editing text right here, and we don't want to do that. So there's a couple ways of doing it. Of course, you can use your arrow key to move to the right, and then start writing there. But that's cheating. So let's do it. Let's do it the Vim way, which would be to press lowercase a, and then it'll just move your cursor to the right by one. That's it. It's insert mode, but we move your cursor. So yeah, that's insert mode out of the way. There's a few other useful commands, like right here, there's X to delete certain characters. So you highlight the character you want to delete, and you press X to delete it. You actually do this lesson real quick. There we go. Yeah. Next, I'm going to be going over what visual mode is. So go to the in lesson 1.4, and then press V. Now you should see a thing at the bottom left corner. It should say visual. Now move your cursor over to the right, and you notice how it's being highlighted. Now there's several things you can do in visual mode. You can delete stuff. You can copy stuff. Or I think you can replace stuff too. And I think that's sort of it with visual mode. It allows you to select text and then do stuff with that text. And there's actually a few different visual modes. Again, press escape you always press escape to quit out of these modes. Just a handy thing to know. In case you don't know you're in normal mode, you just could press escape just in case. So that you do Shift V to go into what is called a visual line mode, which allows you to highlight entire lines of text and you could do Control V, which is what is called visual block mode, which allows you to select text in a sort of a block fashion. Not commonly used, but still good to know. And let's just demonstrate how to use visual mode by deleting the entirety of line 2. So do Shift V, or step 2. Do Shift V, move your cursor to the bottom, and then press D to delete it. Now that's visual mode out of the way. Now let's go over a lot of the normal mode commands. And another way to demonstrate this, let's press P, and this will paste whatever's in our clipboard. So notice how here we haven't copied anything. But what happened when we deleted that text is it copied it. This is just another side effect to kind of note. Is that whenever you use the delete key or delete command, which when selecting text you press D, that deletes it. But you can also kind of combine these together. So one actually I forgot to mention for visual mode is C, which allows you to change. So let's do visual mode on the M, and let's move all the way over to this arrow, and then press C. And this will essentially deletes all that text there in visual mode, and then brings us into insert mode. Yeah. And then if you need to undo, you press U. You press U, and then if you want to redo, you press Control R to redo. It's really handy to know about the U and the R. Please write that down. As well as that really useful resource I recommend looking into. Type in Google Vim cheat sheet, and this page should pop up. This is really useful for learning all the commands because there's so many of them. There's a lot more I cannot actually share, but I know a little bit of these commands. I wish I could share all of them, but I can't. So if you have the time, and if you have the patience, you can open this up on a separate monitor, or you can print it out. There are tons of other Vim cheat sheets. This isn't the only one you can just look at. These are just the first result. Just use what works for you in terms of Vim cheat sheets. And next up, we can use DD to delete an entire line. As you just see, I pressed DD and then pressed U to redo, to undo. Yeah. Next up, well, let's just say we want to get to line 100, because we want to edit something there. And we type in 100 for line 100, and then there's two things we could do. We can press G twice, or you do capital G. It doesn't matter. It does the same thing. Which I don't think it did too much. Let's do line 200. And press whole GG. There we go. It's kind of hard to tell because there's no line numbers to the left. You can configure Vim to do that. Though it seems right here in Vim Tutor, it doesn't do that for you. And actually, this is perfect, not planned at all, is this lesson 2.1, where it explains the combination of keys. So DW lets you delete an entire word. So let's try that right now. Let's delete U. DW. Right, like this. Really nice, though it has some weird side effects if you do it in the middle of a word, which in that case you do DIW to delete the entire word if you're in the middle of the word. DIW, like that. So now I think that's all I can really cover for today. Hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned some things about Vim, and I hope that got you more enthusiastic to learn more about it. Of course, this is really, if you prefer Nano still, that's totally fine. I mean, it's pretty easy to use. Like right here to exit, do Control X instead of that whole colon Q exclamation point. I can totally understand that. And I'll see you later.